Okay, check your quiz. If there is something missing, let me know. Okay. Okay. So how do you feel about the quiz? Okay. um, I think the um, from the exam or quiz, and later maybe the midterm. My suggestion for you is now you need to know what is your limit are. Okay? You need to know your weaknesses. Okay? If you don't know your limit, then you will get in trouble. Okay. So if you think that, okay, when I explain something, you think you understand, but actually you're not. That sometimes happens. So you need to ask yourself whether you understand the concept or not. Try to challenge yourself in some problems. Maybe try to solve some problems. I think there's a lot of information in the website. You can browse through Google. You can check any um, exercise that you can find, because I think my PDF file is not enough. It's not enough. You need to learn more. Okay. And I think today it's easy, right? To just go click the website and search for a lot of information. So yeah, and don't worry about this QR code thing. Try to change your password first at your home, and then tomorrow let's try again the system. If they are still something wrong with the system, then it's the system fault. Okay? Because they ask all the NTUST, whether it's professor or students, to change the password. The policy for at least 1 year, you need to change password every year. Okay, okay, so back to this quiz. Okay, check your quiz if there's something missing. Maybe some mistake I make for calculating your score. Let me know. Um, Averagely, I think. Let me check your score. Yes, sure. Yes, I bisa udah tahu. Okay, I calculated the average is around 51, 51.2 the average. So if you below that score, uh, at least below 50, yeah, you need to have more. I don't know, study hard, but that doesn't seem to work. But study right, okay, study right, not study hard, study right. Sometimes you study hard, but you you make yourself tired easily. That's also no good. So study right, so study smart. Okay. Um, if you haven't take your quiz, please take your quiz. And maybe if your friend asking to take, you can take your friends also. Okay, we are back to the course. Last week we are dealing with the introduction of the unit circle in to deepen our understanding in trigonometry, but I think most of you are familiar with this, right? So again, a little bit review, okay, a little bit review. So if you check this whole circle, okay, you will see there are four regions, okay, or four quadrants. Okay. The first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, fourth quadrant, and you start the quadrants from this x positive, and you are moving this x to the left. Okay. So you will get in the first quadrant, based on this x and y, all positive, right? So you have sine and cos is positive, and we define sine and cos in our y and x. Okay. And when we are moving to second quadrant, the left one is the x1 is negative, right? So we have cosine is negative and sine positive. Okay. And then we move to the third quadrant where all things negative, right? Sine negative, cos negative, and we move to fourth quadrant where the cosine is positive, but the sine is negative. And the other trigonometry identity will follow the sine and cos. Right? Like tangent is just sine over cos. So if sine and cos is negative, the tangent will be positive. Okay. So you just need to remember the fundamentals. Okay. Sine and cos are fundamentals to trigonometry. The other um, tangent, cosecant, secant, all of those things are derived from the sine and cos. Okay. Okay, this is the unit circle. And then we can also um, graph our sine and cos. Let me draw the sine and cos. Maybe the sine first. Okay. Let me make pi over 2 pi. This is 2 pi. Okay, let me start with the sine. Sine, let's just say sine x. Okay. So we start from 0, 0, 0, right? And sine is maximum when the angle is pi over 2. So we are moving our line like this. And then the minimum is -1. Yeah, more or less, you can see sine. And I believe you know the special angle value of sine and cosine. Like sine 30 is half, and then sine 60 is half square root of 3. I don't need to explain that, right? So based on that point, and also remember, I think just remember the maximum and minimum for sine, you'll get this, right? And actually, it's still moving the same way. So every 2 pi, sine will be, it will have the periodic, right? You can also say this is periodic. We also say sine as sinusoidal, sinusoidal wave. Means um, it has special characteristic where it will have the same wave every 2 pi. Okay. So every 2 pi, it will have the same waves. So we call every 2 pi is the periodic every 2 pi, every 2 pi. So I have sine yeah, let's just use t. Okay. And then for cosine, I will draw at uh, the same axis with the red line. So cosine will be from here and going down. And okay, that is cosine. We can also write in terms of how many periods the cos or sine are having. So you will see here, sine and cosine both are actually similar functions. It's similar, but the difference is if you move the cosine to the right side, pi over 2, it will precisely having the same graph as sine. Okay? So sine and cosine are complementing the pi over 2. Okay. Maybe to make it easy to remember, maybe this is just t. Okay. Okay. So example. So if you have the functions 2 plus cosine x. So what 2 means is you need to plus 2 for the y-axis. You need to move the graph. So if this is your cos x, so this is 1, 2, 3. So basically you need to plus plus 2 from 1. So 1, 2. So from here, starting from here, and the graph is same as the original. So this is moving up. And if you have 2 cos x, Wait, this should be x. If you have 2 cos x, then you need to stretch. Okay, remember the transformation function. If you have 2 times your function, you need to stretch your functions 2 times. Okay, so stretch, and maybe it will be like that, but it still have the uh, same characteristic. This is 2 cos x. This is cos x. This is 2 plus cos x. And if you have, for example, minus cos x, meaning if you have minus, remember you need to mirror the image. Okay. So okay. Any questions first? So if you think you need to ask something in the middle of the lessons, just raise your hand and you can ask me. Okay. Do not pretend that you know what you saw. If you just seems confused, just ask. Or maybe later, if you feel nervous to ask, later you need to confirm whether you are understand or not. Okay. Okay. So I think this is pretty much not really difficult to understand. Okay. Is it okay? And all of this transformation is also can be confirmed in other regular functions. Okay. So yeah, first is transformations, and also aside from the transformations, we can also write the terms of sine and cos in a I think I'm not sure you have learned this or not. Have you learned about this form before? Have you learned this? Have you seen before? Have you seen this? Okay. I think in physics, right? Uh, Sometimes you are having um, the amplitude, right? And it's periodic, and it is also related to sine and cos. So the amplitude is A, and then the period is 2 pi over k. So one period is based on the interval of from 0 to 2 pi over k. And that's why you can have, for example, what's y sine 2x. Okay. And then y sine half x. So what does it mean? So it means, let me draw the, okay. So sine 2x means you are moving before your period for sine is like this, right? And now you are moving twice faster. So first is like this, now like that. Okay. Let me draw the original function first. Okay. This is the original function. This is the sine x. Okay. Yeah. Then that is the sine 2x. How to confirm? You can just check the pi over 2 in this, or maybe the sine pi over 2 is 1, right? Sine pi over 2 is 1. So when x is pi over 4, it's 1, right? So now it's pi over 4 right here. It's 1. Okay, that's how you compare. So 2x means it's having, so before the one periodic is from 0 to 2 pi. Now one periodic is from 0 to pi. It's faster, right? It's moving faster. And if you have half, then it will be slower. So your one periodic becomes twice in length. So half x becomes until 4 pi. Okay. So sine pi over 2 becomes in pi. Okay. So from this particular functions, you can see the amplitude is just 1. Amplitude means how much he will get to the maximum or the minimum point. That's why it's having the absolute value. Okay. Absolute value means you have both negative and positive in sign. Okay? You need to just consider the maximum number itself. Okay. So here is just 1, right? Both of this 1. We see in the graph it's only 1, right? Absolute value of 1. And then the period is 2 pi over k. So k becomes in the these functions. One is 2, the other one is half. And we put in this period 2 pi over 2. It's become pi. So one period is pi. It's for the red color here, right? And then when 2 pi divide by half is 4. So 1 period is 4 pi for half x. Okay? Okay, that's the amplitude and period. Maybe you will also need this basic for, I think, mostly in physics. Okay. The other one for examples is uh, we can also write the um, sine and cosine in terms of shifting and also the cosine. K is always positive. So this is shifted sine and cos. So A is amplitude and 2 pi over k is period and B is the horizontal shift. Okay. So if you have examples, y is sine x minus pi over 3. Let me draw this first. Let me draw the original sine. Okay, this is the original sine. And then what minus pi over 3 means? How to move? Yeah, shift to the right. So maybe you take this pi, you divide by 3, maybe around here. Then you need to start from here and then the same graph. Yeah, the same graph. So maybe here is pi over 3. I think we will also have, this is 4 over 3 pi, right? The one that makes 0. And this is 7 over 3 pi. Yeah, 9, 8, 2, 6 plus, oh yeah, okay. Yeah, correct. So move to the right side. Okay. My graph is not really that clear, but the idea is just shift the graph to the right side for p over 3. Okay. So you need to plus p over 3 here. Okay. And if you have x plus pi over 3, then going to the left. Yeah. I don't need to draw that. Okay. But remember, okay. And also in regular functions, your transformation is also the same principle. Okay. Okay. Now, if I have y 3 over 4 cosine 2x plus 2 pi over 3. Find amplitude, period, uh, graph 1 period. So you have the function is 3 over 4 cosine 2x plus 2 pi over 3. Find the amplitude, period, and graph 1 period. Okay. Can you do it? I think the obvious one is the amplitude. It's the absolute value of A. It's just 3 over 4 based on the functions. But first, let's see our functions here. It's having 2x and 2 over 3 pi, right? I think our original default functions is it should be having just x minus something, right? So we need to factorize these two out to make the original defaults of our function. So we can write this, the functions became 3 over 4 cosine 2, and it will be x, and write the plus in terms of the minus, because we want to having x minus something. Okay? So x minus pi over 3. So we have this period 2 pi over k, right? Now k is 2. So our one period is pi. And horizontal shift, if it's asking a horizontal shift, then we just write negative pi over 3. And we can also check, okay, when the period start and when the period ends. We can just look back at the 2x plus pi over 3, these terms, okay? So we have the beginning of cos should be cos 0, right? And the end of the cos should be cos 2 pi, right? So to determine the first and end period, just making this equal 0 and making this equal 2 pi, and you will get the first and end period. Should be 2. So it starts at minus pi over 3, as we can predict also from the horizontal shift, right? So it's going to the left, minus pi over 3. So minus pi over 3, and the end period is 2/3 pi. Okay, and from all these informations, we can sketch in the graph. So we make this is 3/4. I think maybe here. So at negative pi over 3, it should be having the maximum 3/4. And then it's going down until here, pi over 12. And it's still going down here. And then this is pi over 2. I need to move. And it should be around here. And the end of period is 2 pi over 3. And it should be 3/4 here. So this is y, 3/4 cos 2x plus 2 pi over 3. So I'm making the scale quite big for the pi over 6 to see this shift. Okay. So first is you shift the from 0 to pi over 3, and of course it will shift it all the angle here. So you need also to check when the cos is 0, it's cos pi over 2, right? You need to also check pi over 2 to here, and you will get this is pi over 12, and the maximum, this is pi over 6. It's basically from this pi over 3, we can see that it's also having the negative value, getting 0 and maximum once more at the end of period, which is our cosine function. And all of this in one period. Okay. So this is period, one period, which is only pi. How you see one period is pi? From minus pi over 3 plus pi, it's became the 2/3, right? So the whole things here, the curve moves in pi period. Okay. So negative pi over 3, and then became the 2/3 pi. Okay. Okay, I think I will finish until here. So today, it's all the how to shift the graph, how to graph sine, cos, the amplitude, the period. Okay. Tomorrow I will move to the triangle, how to approach the trigonometry triangle and proving some identity.